Hello, everybody. I'm live here in the Tetouan region, and I'm actually in Negro, Morocco, sitting in the Riviera Beach Resort. And it's a beautiful, hot, sunny day here. And I've got my barbecue going beside me. It smells amazing. And what I have to say is, when you're walking through the streets and all the communities across Morocco, this is the smell you smell all the time. 'Cause there's so many open barbecues. So today we're going to take a little bit of time together to explore some of the amazing flavors of Morocco and what goes into some of these great barbecue basics. And today we're going to be working with some kefta, which here in North America we would be calling this ground beef, which beautifully, when we stopped at the butcher, he took the meat and ground it fresh for me. So I know that this beef is exactly where we want it to be, and some of the best quality beef I've ever had the privilege of having. So we've got our beef here. We're going to be getting our meat together, and we're going to be getting our grids and shueya. So these are the grids that we're going to be using to grill. And as I said, the coals are just getting perfect over here beside me. I've got great help from my friends here and getting everything together. The other thing that we're going to have, which is super traditional, especially here, is we're going to be making sure that we've got some bread or hobs. And again, same thing. When we picked these up this morning, they were fresh and you could still feel them warm coming out of the oven. This is a little bit more of what you see as our traditional size bread, which is really served with almost every meal here. And of course, it's going to be a perfect complement to the barbecue. So, what we're going to be starting with is some fresh ingredients, and I'm going to be making a wonderful tomato salad. This is a salad that I've had at many of my friends' homes. Absolutely delicious flavor. And it's got tomatoes, cucumbers, onions, and then some fresh lemon. One of the things about the flavors here is because the ingredients are all here in Morocco, produced across this country, we know that we're starting with the freshest and the best quality ingredients, which is probably one of the reasons why it's one of the top food cultures in the world. And then we're also going to make some Taktouka. And this is just a beautiful cooked tomato and pepper recipe. So one of the things what we need to do is we need to roast these peppers. So we're going to be getting these over the coals so we can get these peppers roasted to go in. But we're going to be starting to get some seasoning in our meat because that's going to become super important. So it's going to seem funny, but I have an assistant cook beside me that I'm going to hand some peppers off to, who's going to
Mhm.
take care of getting those roasted beside me. I feel like I'm in like the secret food network kitchen where things are going to go back and forth. So let's set these beautiful fresh ingredients here for our salad and let's get that meat out. So one of the things that becomes important, so we're going to use our fresh beef, as we said here. We're going to put this in the bowl and we're going to be making this delicious dish up to share with some friends later. And we need to get the seasoning that goes inside this. So traditionally, one of the best spices, and you're going to see this, is a nice smoked paprika that's going to go in. So we're just going to get some of that paprika into the meat so that we've got the right amount of seasoning in there. And then the other thing I'm going to add is a little bit cumin. Ooh, just a bit. And of course, we need some fresh garlic in here and just a tiny bit of fresh ginger. The other thing that's really important is those fresh herbs that go into the meat. So I'm going to set this off to the side. And over here, we've got a little bit of beautiful fresh mint. Welcome to Morocco, where you're going to enjoy mint in almost everything. And if I was home in Canada right now, as our snow is finally going away, so hello to all of our YouTube audience around the world, especially my friends in Canada, in Atlantic Canada, where we've had some very interesting weather lately. Hopefully, your snow is finally gone. And hopefully, when I get home in a few weeks, my fresh mint is going to be starting to come up in my backyard. So, what we're going to do is we're just going to take the leaves off the mint. So, we don't want those stems. We're going to set these off to the side. Let's just say it's getting a little hot in here. It's about 22 degrees and sunny here today. It's been an amazing week of weather. I like it because it feels like that beautiful late spring in Canada. Hot days and cool evenings, great for sleeping. So, and earlier this week, I had the privilege to be traveling to Rabat, which is the incredible, beautiful capital of Morocco. And on that particular day, we were so surprised because it was 29 degrees. And as we drove back here to the north, we just watched the temperature slowly decrease. And we arrived at a nice cool 20 degrees. Fairly similar to driving across Atlantic Canada, or you just wait in the daytime at home and that temperature will come through. So with this herbs that's going to go inside the kefta or our ground meat, we want to make sure that we have a really good dice on that. I'm also going to get out some nice fresh onions. So barbecue is amazing. And I kind of feel like I'm camping a little bit today. And normally we would take a blender and blend some of these ingredients. So Michelle's just going to take the extra time to make it old school and use my knife to get all that blended together. So for the amount in my measuring hand, as we like to say here in Atlantic Canada Cooks, I've got about a palm worth of that nice fresh mint. It's going to go into the meat. And you really want to season your meat, and you don't have to season it too far, but about 20 minutes before you're cooking it, so those beautiful flavors come through. Now, we're going to use a little bit more cilantro in this particular recipe. So here we've got a nice two-handed measuring palm of the cilantro. And the same thing with this, we're going to get it diced up really small. And what I would say to remember with cilantro is you can use the stems. The stems are full of flavor and full of nutrition. So you don't need to take the stems off this particular herb. And the same thing, we want this to be ground nice and diced nice and small so that it blends in really well. In the traditional recipe, you would take your herbs, your onions, and your garlic and put it into a blender so it becomes really, really fine. And it's almost into a paste. But just like some places, you don't always have all your kitchen tools. So you can still get all the same flavors that you want without those modern tools. So I'm hoping everybody gets inspired as you're following along here in Atlantic Canada Cooks. Over the last few years, I've had the privilege of hosting here. This will be my 7th episode that I've hosted here from Morocco. And it never gets boring because I keep discovering new foods while I'm here. And this week, I'm going to have the privilege of traveling up into some new regions. And hopefully, we'll try some different dishes. So the same thing, if you see that cilantro now is finely minced. Sometimes in other salads, you would leave it a little bit bigger. But again, this would normally go into a blender. Oh, there we go. Perfect. That. So now that's going to fit in the palm of my hand. And we're going to add that in again to our ground beef. Absolutely delicious. It already smells amazing. So, of course, the other ingredient we want to make sure that we add to this is some beautiful fresh garlic. And whatever recipe says 1 clove, an extra clove. That's our motto here in Atlantic Canada Cooks. So you can get lamb, chicken, beef, anything that you're looking for barbecued here. Last night we went to a restaurant that was Nardina, which we've frequented many times while we're here. and enjoyed some beautiful tagines, which if you look back, check out our YouTube channel where I actually had the opportunity to host a live episode from that particular restaurant before, and you'll see how that amazing tagine flavor comes out. Those take a little bit more time to cook because they need to cook for many hours. And maybe next weekend we'll talk about some tagines when we're hosting. Next weekend we'll be in Casablanca just before I return back to Canada. And we'll maybe explore a little bit more of what the flavors from that region are. So let's get our garlic diced up fine. And again, like I said, normally we'd be putting this through a blender. So what I'm going to do is just put a really good slice, and then we'll run our knife back through the other side. I can see this. Oh, look at those coals and the barbecue are looking absolutely perfect. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to get a pan, and we're going to let that pan, we're going to get those peppers on. There we go. We're going to put the peppers directly on the grill, which we'll show you here in a few minutes. And we're going to get those roasted. The pan's going on because one of the other recipes that I'm going to make today is, they said, that beautiful Taktouka. And when you go to restaurants here or anybody's home, it's a wonderful, fresh recipe. And it's really quite simple. But we do need to roast those peppers. It's traditionally made with a green pepper. You can use red or you can use yellow, orange, but particularly the flavors of a green pepper are perfect in this dish. So there we've got our minced garlic. Get that into our kefta. So I think my pan's getting warmed up. So what I'm going to do, and of course, olive oil. If you have an opportunity to buy olive oil from Morocco, I highly recommend it. It's some of the best olive oil I've ever had. And olive oil is an extremely important part of the diet here in Morocco. And if you look up the health properties, it is one of the healthiest things that you can eat. It helps with congestion. It helps with your circulation. And I think this is why everybody I see in this country is so healthy, because they eat a lot of olive oil. This morning with our eggs, we were having our olive oil. Absolutely amazing. The check here, heating up. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to dice some of these onions that are going to go into the kefta. But additionally, we're going to get some of the onions just sauteing in the pan. I'm going to put these ones here, leave these ones a little bit bigger size. We're going to switch over to our Taktouka. We'll get that on the pan. There we go. So we've got our pan here. This is kind of convenient. I love the setup that the guys have for me. I can sit in my chair and get everything done. This is excellent. So we've got onions. We're going to saute those. That nice hot pan already. I wish you could smell what I could smell. So a little bit of garlic is going to be going in as well. 1 clove of garlic in there. And what's interesting about this is mainly everything or most of the recipes have fresh ingredients. And I can tell you last night, and I'm going to take a video this week. So make sure you tune into our YouTube channel, because we're going to take a little bit of video of what it's like to go shopping. All the small little stores have fresh vegetables absolutely everywhere. And you can buy anything you want pretty much 24 hours a day here. So I've got some fresh cracked pepper. I'm going to put a bit in kefta. And now Michelle's going to have greasy hands. And then again over here in my pan beside it. Oil on the hands are never good. Here we go. And a little bit of salt. So I'm going to call over to my assistant cook here, barbecuer, to ask to grab me some salt. Oh, and our peppers are roasting perfect. One of my favorite flavors or scents in a kitchen is definitely onions and garlic, and you can smell that coming through. So again, we're not going to cook the onions until they're brown for the Taktouka. We're going to make sure that they just get what we call translucent and clear. Mm. The smell is perfect. So remember, the other ingredient that's going to be going into those are those nice grilled peppers, which we're going to show you here are grilling perfectly beside me. And this is the roast that we're looking for in those peppers. So what we're going to be doing with these peppers here in a few minutes. Oh, those are perfect. Thank you. Look at that. So a little bit of salt, but a little bit of salt in with the kefta. And then we're going to go over here and put some salt in with our pan. It's amazing and how when you add those spices and herbs, how quickly that comes together. Excellent. So those onions are cooked down where we want them to be. They smell amazing. Right? We're going to have the neighbors over here soon knocking on the door, wondering what's going on. So I was saying about this particular recipe with the Taktouka is we're going to be using, and I've got a can of cherry tomatoes. So those nice small tomatoes. And this is one of the few recipes that you are using canned tomatoes. I do recommend that you buy the ones that have no seasoning in them and no salt in them. That way you can control the seasoning and the flavor. And what's nice about the baby tomatoes, they're going to be a perfect texture. We're going to get our hot pan here, still sizzling. Look at that. Perfect. Have a look at that. Oh, the aroma is amazing. Get those back on the pan. We'll give those a little stir. Barbecue is perfect temperature. And I think our peppers are looking pretty good. So there's one trick that we need to do with the peppers. Because we want to take the skins off those peppers. Put my onions over here. And I'm going to take the peppers off the grill. And I do believe we have some plastic wrap here somewhere. And what we're going to do is we're going to wrap those over with the plastic wrap over the top. And what that's going to do is going to sweat off the top of that skin. They smell amazing. Let's have a look at that. And those were cooked directly on the grill. Perfectly cooked. Shook. So all you need is a little bit of plastic. And I think in every country, this is the same thing that happens. We all get in a fight with our plastic wrap. There we go. That is covered. And they only need to stay covered. I'm definitely losing the fight with my plastic wrap today. There we go. Excellent. I'm excited about when I do return to Canada. The other thing that's going to be amazing is I'm going to be going home with some new recipes and probably a suitcase full of spices. And not that you can't get most of the spices actually, which is beautiful. There's so many local stores in Canada. Say hi to our friends at the Rabia store in Moncton, New Brunswick, where they always have all the same spices and things that we're looking for. So don't be afraid when you come to visit Canada, you're going to be able to get your great spices. So there we go. Those are going to sit just for a few minutes and feel the heat. And what's going to happen is the moisture is going to come out and I'm going to be able to peel a bit of that skin off So we have that excellent roasted pepper flavor. So let's go back to our meat so we can get this mixed up. And this might be that point where I'm going to call for my sous chef to mix the meat in the background as I finish the seasoning. So the last ingredient I'm going to add in here is some fresh cumin. And the aroma is so amazing. Cumin is used, like I'm now eating cumin every day on my eggs in the morning. Wasn't a flavor that I was used to, but now I think I wouldn't have, my eggs wouldn't be the same without it. So there we go. Put that fresh cumin in there. And I'm going to start giving this a little bit of a mix. And this is where we would really put this through, as I said, a blender to get this where we want it. But we want to get the seasoning mixed all through that beef. And the last ingredient I'm going to add in here is some diced onion. And as I said, if we had our blender, we would be blending those ingredients together. So there we go. Beautiful seasoning. And put a few diced onions in here. And then I'm going to pass this off in about 1 second. Just let me give you a couple of onions over. These off. We were discussing flavors for the kefta earlier, and we were thinking of having a competition as who could make a better one. I think he would beat me in the Moroccan flavors. We'll see. So, a little bit of diced onions. There we go. And I'm just going to run my knife back through because we really want this to be minced. So we're not looking for large chunks. We want this to be small that blends in with the rest of everything else. I'm going to move my sweets over the way. We'll talk here in a few minutes about Moroccan sweets. Let's check on the Taktouka. Oh, wow. Perfectly cooking. All simmering. The flavors are amazing. You can already smell it. And what I'm just going to do is I'm going to take all those small tomatoes and I'm just going to squish them or smush them so that those get moved around. Smells great. I think I can see the we're in a beautiful, secure area. Anybody who's thinking of traveling to Morocco, I've traveled to over 30 countries in the world, and I can promise you this is one of the safest countries I've ever come to. And especially in this particular complex, we're right over where the security guards are. And I think maybe when we're done making the kefta today, we'll drop the guys off a little bit to try, because I'm sure that they're standing below and can smell the barbecue coming off the balcony here. So when you come to visit this region, we're right here on the ocean. So we're right on the Mediterranean Sea, which is part of the Albion Sea. And it's directly to my left. And I think maybe today will be a day that we're going to take a walk on that beach because hot and sunny. So if you want to find dice on your onion, just make sure. I feel like you could be doing the double knife here. Get that through. And I'm just going to hand these back over to my sous chef so he can add it into the kefta. And as I said, for all my Moroccan cooks, we do know this would normally go through a blender and you would put your onions, your garlic, and your herbs into that blender. There we go. Nice fine dice. It's amazing. So as I've been traveling this week, I've had the great opportunity to travel to Rabat, have an amazing meeting at the Canadian Embassy. It was a really proud moment. It was my second trip in 2022. Had the opportunity to go and visit, and they're so helpful and have introduced us to a lot of people who are looking to connect for Atlantic Canada Language Academy. All right. There's our nice finely diced onions. I'm going to hand those off. Oh, look at that. Going down. So let's look at a fresh tomato salad. So while Tofik is getting that blended up for us, the other thing we're going to have the cooked Taktouka, which is going to be amazing. But the other thing that we're going to have is a nice fresh salad that's going to go with that. So I'm going to be using this pot as a bowl right now. And this particular salad, pardon me, when we're out at all the restaurants or out at anybody's home, there's always a lot of fresh salads that come in with that. This particular salad is served almost everywhere. And for me, it's got some of my absolutely favorite ingredients in it. So right here, we've already prepared all those amazing ingredients. So we've got chopped tomatoes. And here we've got some beautiful diced cucumbers. I cleaned the cucumbers up, took the skins off, but I also took the time to take the seeds out of the middle of that. And then here I've got some nice diced, and I use leeks versus using a regular white onion. And I like them because of just a little bit milder flavor. So as you see, the ratio is not, so your onion to your cucumber are about the same, and then a little bit less on the onion. So we're going to put all of these into our pot. We're not cooking it. I'm just substituting this, kind of like camping. I'm just going to substitute the pot to use for a bowl. And I have to say, we're in the north of Morocco, and I hope anybody who's not familiar with the region, get your map out, check out where we are in the north of Morocco. To me, it reminds me of Atlantic Canada. And you'll see people out doing barbecue on the beach or in different areas, and a lot of camping in this region. And if I remember growing up, I'm going to say hi to my mom, who I know is watching, my aunt Karita, Joan, Dion, everybody, Shinobu from Japan. But mom, how many times when we were camping that we used our pots as bowls? So I'm already there. Thank you for teaching me those great lessons. So here we have the tomatoes, the cucumbers, and the onion that are mixed together. In this particular salad, what we're going to do is we're going to add some beautiful olive oil. And look at that. I got a professional maker beside me. That looks perfect. So we've got some olive oil that's going in. And because I want to use my pepper again, I can feel olive oil in my hands. I dry those off. And here, we're going to put some nice fresh cracked pepper. There we go. I like fresh cracked pepper when I'm cooking because I find it has a richer aroma. Regular pepper, obviously, just as good. And of course, like any good salad, we want to make sure that we've got a little bit of salt. Perfect. Off to the side. Let me check on my tomatoes here beside me. Oh, they're cooking down perfectly. And we want to get that kefta on to the grill. So we're going to give this salad a stir. I'm going to add just a few more ingredients in a few minutes. Let's push this off to the side and let's come back around so we can get that beef grilling. Let's set this over here. All right. So, thank you. It's like, Mom, I've got you, but a lot taller. In behind me getting everything done. I have to say, Atlantic Canada Cooks, this is week 245, and it takes a lot of people to make this happen. So I want to say thank you to everybody that helps in the background and all the guests that come in and join us each and every week. So you're going to see that meat is perfectly blended. And what we're going to do is we're going to form it into some patties that are going to be going into our grill. And I'm going to make these ones a little bit smaller right now, just because we want it to cook a little bit quicker. So we want them to get in similar sizes. So I've got my assistant here that's going to be advising me on how to do this. So I'm going to invite him to come in here.
There. Hello,
Hey, Tavik.
how are you? What you are
Great.
doing? Good.
All right. So you're going to help me make sure that we put this
Okay.
properly.
I think it's better to flip this one.
Okay.
That's the Kefta, don't fall.
Okay.
So
So let's get 6 even pieces, and then you tell us how we want to put this together.
okay.
This one looks a little bit bigger than this. We're going to start with 6. We'll cook the rest up after. All right. Move this off to the side. So how do we want to do these?
Okay, let's remove the Kefta
Okay.
for the moment.
Excellent.
And flip it. And put our Kefta.
Mhm.
Just like this. Let's go with there.
Is this also where I can add a couple of these onions?
Yes.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take an onion here in the middle. Oh, that's perfect.
No, we can add it here.
On the top?
Yes. Then flip it.
We're going to put him right in the middle.
Okay.
There we go. So it doesn't fall out. See, I love about this grill pan. There we go. It slides right in. Ready to go?
Okay.
Look at that. Perfect. We're going to add that over to the grill. We do have 2 of these grills, so we can put a couple of them on at once. So we'll be able to do the rest of this in a few minutes. But right now, let's start with the 4. I'm going to put this over here. And Michelle's going to take an opportunity. I got a wet cloth here. Let's wipe the meat off my hands and get that cleaned off so we don't cross-contaminate all of those. It smells absolutely amazing. The minute that hit the grill, right? So we're going to set this over here. And let's finish off what's going to be going into our Taktouka. I think these have sat long enough. And we're going to go back. This is where I always want smell-o-vision. These already smell absolutely delicious. So let's get. Look at that. Plastic off. I know I'm barbecuing right now because I can see some of the charcoal coming out. So what we want to do is we want to just remove the skins. And at this point, the skins, there we go. It's a little messy, but you're going to see that that skin comes right off. The grilled flavor is going to stay, but it just makes it so when it goes into the sauce, it's going to be a lot smoother. And I have to be thankful for this particular pepper that's peeling off quite easily. This is one of those ones where it can be a very messy job. Perfect. That's peeled off. And we're going to remove the seeds and the stems. So there, the dish. Put the seeds and the stems in. When they're still a little hot, be careful Michelle doesn't burn herself with this one. Wow. It's amazing how hot those stayed. The seeds out. There we go. We'll do our second pepper. Cut the tops. All right. So the flavors of Morocco really are about fresh ingredients, fresh herbs. And to be honest with you, everybody takes time. I've enjoyed some great family meals this week and many restaurant meals due to the travels and some of the visits we've been traveling around. And you can still see the same care that's taken. Here we go. Yeah. And I will do the same thing with this particular pepper. Cut that open. And then we remove those seeds. This particular pepper I'm using it looks like a hot pepper, but it's not. It's a sweet pepper. It's a poblano pepper. There's probably a Moroccan name for it. There we go. Give those a stir. Taktouka is cooking up well. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dice up these peppers. And they're going to go in with the tomatoes that are nicely simmering beside me on the barbecue. And the kefta smells unbelievable beside me. I think fresh barbecue is one of my favorite. And here in Atlantic Canada, back home, it is starting to be barbecue season. And I think we love our barbecue season. I barbecue year round at times for sure. Oh, perfect curls on that. That again is getting nicely charred in the middle. These peppers cut up. One thing about barbecue is it is about your fresh ingredients and using all the things as nature intended it. And today, as you see, we've got cilantro, we've got mint, we've got a little bit of fresh parsley that's going in to the recipes. And there we go. Get our last pepper cut. And for the Taktouka, it doesn't take long to cook. As you see, this whole meal is going to be ready in a short time frame. I think the only thing I would say with your kefta, if you want a little bit more intensified flavor, is season your meat maybe in the morning. Here we go. All those peppers beautifully together. And I'm going to clean off my hand. We're going to get that pan over. That looks great. Now we're going to add the secret ingredient. I'm going to see how the tomatoes and the onions have nicely cooked down. Let's add those peppers. The other thing that's amazing is when all these colors come together. Put those last few peppers in there. That's stirred. That's going to come together beautifully. And really for this, I'm going to add just a tiny bit more salt and pepper. And that only needs to cook down for a few minutes. Back on. There we go. And here in a few minutes, we're going to show you the barbecue. There we go. Perfect. So we've got our Taktouka cooking. It's only going to take a few more minutes to simmer and be exactly where we want it. The kefta's barbecuing. I'm going to move some of these out of the way. I'm going to pass this over. There we go. The seasoning is all about the freshness. Clean up some here. And let's go back to that beautiful, fresh Moroccan salad and finish off those ingredients. Here we go. So, our last salad that we started with, and I'm sure those flavors are coming together really well. The other ingredient that's going to go into the Taktouka before I come back here to the tomato salad is I'm going to add a little bit of vinegar that's going to go in, and that acid. And I'm using an apple vinegar, or I would use a red wine vinegar. What you don't want to use is a white vinegar. Your white vinegar is a bit harsher good for pickling and other things. So use a mild vinegar, and that's going to add just that little bit of acid. And what it does, it actually wakes up the other flavors that are in there. So let's go back to so we've got cucumber. We've got that beautiful, and I use diced leeks that are in here, and those nice fresh tomatoes. And it was interesting because last night we were out shopping for ingredients, as I said, and going to the stores, lined up and picking the best tomatoes and the cucumbers that we wanted. So the last ingredient that's going to go in here is we're going to add some nice fresh lemon. So we're going to use, this is a fairly large lemon, large for Canadian size, probably not fairly large or average size here in Morocco. So we're going to use about half a lemon that's going to go into this salad. And again, I want to emphasize the freshness and the fresh ingredients. And this is really what a lot of Moroccan flavors are based out of, and lots of Mediterranean flavors. So we're encouraging everybody to get your map out and check out where we are up in the north. I like giving this reference as it is for Atlantic Canada. Please check out your map where we are. I live in New Brunswick, and then Atlantic Canada Language Academy is in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia. And then for New Brunswick to Prince Edward Island is about 14 kilometers across the strait. And that's the same distance that Tangier or Morocco is to Spain. So check out that map. And again, you're up in the northern region. And I lost a seed. So later when we're eating, I'm not going to find that seed. We're going to warn my unwitting guests that one of them might end up getting a seed in there. So the other ingredient that we want to add into this is we're going to add, you can add fresh parsley is a traditional, or some fresh cilantro. So you can, oh, the lemon smells amazing. I'm just looking, I think I'm going to add a little bit more fresh cracked pepper to this. Awakens those beautiful flavors. Over here. We're just going to get some of that nice fresh cilantro. And the same thing, remember, we take that off, but you can definitely use the stems when you're using cilantro, because the stems are actually rich in flavor and healthy. Everything that's green is good for you when it comes to eating. So we're just going to dice up this with a rough chop. How's our kefta looking, Tofik?
Perfect.
It looks perfect. I think we're going to need one more. Oh, I do have another serving plate. Small one. Up here. And our meal's coming together. And that's the nice thing about fresh barbecue. So the fresh herbs. So we have fresh lemon. You could use a lime in this if you want, but either one of those flavors is going to be great. I remember one time I was doing a cooking demonstration and I was making some Mexican and I didn't have any limes and I ended up using oranges. And it was absolutely delicious. The important part is the acid and that citrus that goes in. So we'll finish off this. All countries have their wonderful tomato salad. Mexico would be salsa. You go to Italy, it'd be bruschetta. So everybody has those beautiful fresh flavors that come together. Excited about that. It looks beautiful. The colors are great. And of course, I think I'm going to do a taste test of this one. There we go. So I have to laugh. There you go. Eat well and travel often. So this is what we're encouraging everybody to do. I'm going to get a spoon here. Great thing about being the chef, you get to do some taste testing. Are we ready? Mm-mm-mm. Wow. That was so good. All right, we're gonna pull this meal together. Let's get this into a bowl. I think everybody's hungry now, right? Look at that. Perfect coming together. Right? We eat with our eyes first. All right, Tovik, you did the honors. You come on in. Show us this. Perfect. Wow. I gotta put this underneath. It smells amazing. All right. Give a little bit of help here. There we go. Those grilled onions are perfect. Maybe a little oil on that grill would have helped. That's coming right on. There we go. Got it? Oh, awesome.
Good.
Perfect. Sure. Got it. Look at this. These are perfectly cooked. I'll line these up here with a beautiful grilled onion. Look at this. And we've got our gorgeous salad. And remember, we've got that Taktouka. It's cooking here beside me. Sizzling. Sizzling hot. The aroma. Absolutely delicious. And what we're going to do, add this right to the side. Oh, look at this one fell off. Those flavors are exactly as we'd be looking for them to be. Absolutely fresh. So we're going to finish this off with a little bit, a tiny bit of extra olive oil. And the one thing with that really, really beautiful extra mixture on the side, and let's get our bread over here, or Hobbs, as we would say, because when you're going to eat this beautiful meal, it's going to come perfectly together with all of these amazing flavors. But, you know, when you're finishing off meals here in Morocco, we don't have any tea, but one of the other things that you're going to have is some amazing fresh sweets. So I want to say a huge thank you to everybody that's joined us here today, to the farmers that spend all of their time in the fields across the world, making sure that we have some of the best ingredients to enjoy our meals with. And of course, the bakers that come together and bake all these fresh ingredients as well, the bread every day that we get to enjoy. We're going to top this off. A couple of lemon wedges. As Michelle can't pick up one lemon. And all the amazing Moroccan sweets. And this, there's 4 different types here. And to be honest with you, there's 400 types. And I want to recommend when you come here to Morocco, please make sure that you try everything. Don't be afraid of any of the flavors, because you know that we've started again with the best ingredients and everything's made with the best amount of love. So from my barbecue here in Cabernegro to your kitchen, thank you so much for joining us on Atlantic Canada Cooks, and we'll look forward to seeing you again next week. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't. We're going to be posting more recipes throughout the week and lots of fun adventures that we're going to be having that can only be seen on YouTube. So make sure that you join in. Sign up for our newsletter where we share weekly recipes. And I'd say to Mom, miss you, love you. Tofik did a great job being a backup cook for me. He would have made you proud. And we look forward to you joining us soon. So, from my barbecue to you, thanks for joining us here on Atlantic Canada Cooks.